We want to take you now to the White House press briefing where FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell is updating the Biden administration's response to the California wildfires. She's remote. Let's listen.
Is with each and every one of you. And I know that you continue to face these fires as they are still working to bring them under control. And unfortunately, this will probably be a life-changing event for so many of you. But FEMA is here, along with our entire federal family, to help you through this recovery process. We are going to continue to support the state and the local jurisdictions, the local first responders, as they continue to try to contain this fire and eventually extinguish this fire. I arrived on the ground yesterday, as Karine said, at the direction of the president. I had an opportunity to meet with Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass. We discussed what their immediate needs were, as well as began the conversation about what their recovery needs are going to be. The governor, the mayor, and I had an opportunity just before this to also brief the president and the vice president about what their concerns are, about what their needs are going to be, and provided an update on the current status of the firefighting operations. Yesterday, I also had an opportunity to receive briefings from the incident command posts at the Palisades fire, as well as the Eaton fire. And I think the most important thing that I want to make sure I continue to get across to everyone is this situation is still very dangerous. It is still very dynamic. The winds have died down today, but as I just got a weather briefing at the county EOC, the winds are going to increase again in the coming days. And so people still need to stay vigilant. They need to listen to their local officials. They need to heed their advice so they can keep themselves and their families safe. I also want to just take a minute to commend all of the amazing and heroic work that the firefighters are doing around the clock to fight these fires. They have been working night and day. I had a chance to speak with several of them, some of them whose homes have also been lost or their families have had to evacuate. Yet they still show up every day supporting their communities, trying to keep them safe. And I just want to say thank you. I want to thank all of them for their heroic efforts because they are making a difference. Now, while the National Interagency Fire Center continues to provide resources to support CAL FIRE and the Los Angeles County and City Fire Departments, FEMA is also supporting the recovery efforts. We're supporting those that have been impacted by this fire. I even met with the SBA administrator here just briefly, who is also here to support them, businesses and individuals that have been impacted by these fires. With the quick major disaster declaration, residents can now register and begin their recovery journey. Some of the immediate things that we can provide to them are to cover the costs that they're incurring as they have been evacuated, helping to support what their longer-term shelter and housing needs are going to be. We can also help support crisis counseling and disaster unemployment. These are just a few of the programs that we have. We have many more, and I encourage everyone to begin that process by registering now. Recovery from these fires is going to be complex. I've seen many disasters throughout my 4 years in this role. This is certainly one of the worst that I have seen. And the debris removal alone is going to be one of the major things that we have to accomplish, that the state has to accomplish to get this recovery journey started. And that's why when President Biden authorized 100% reimbursement for the first 180 days is really going to set the stage to jumpstart this recovery for these communities. I had a chance to drive through some of the communities that were impacted as well. And it's not just the homes that are lost. We've seen schools that have been destroyed, businesses, small businesses, religious institutions. These are things that we are going to be able to help with temporary facilities like temporary schools to help get children back into the schoolhouse, but also any other emergency measures as they begin the work of permanent repair. Thousands of homes have been destroyed, and we continue to hear the numbers change, but know that this is going to be a long-term recovery for all of these individuals that have been impacted. And as I told the governor and the mayor yesterday and today, I assured them that our programs, our staff, the entire federal family are going to be here with them, alongside them, helping them achieve the outcomes that they need to not just rebuild these communities, but also rebuild them in a way that's going to make them stronger and more resistant to the types of weather events that they have been experiencing. This recovery journey is going to be long, but we are going to be there with them to support them every step of the way. And with that, Corinne, I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you so much, Administrator. Go ahead, Steve.
Thanks, Corinne. Thanks, Administrator. Hoping you could speak to whether your agency has enough money currently to fund the immediate response needs, or is there a need to go to Congress quickly to get additional funds? And then separately, 10 days out from the presidential transition, what steps are underway at FEMA to ensure that what has been done so far and what's going to be done in the coming days is sustained at the career level and beyond, into the new administration? Thank you.
Yeah, with the recent supplemental, FEMA received $27 billion. And so we are now able to continue to support the ongoing recovery efforts for all of the disasters that we've been supporting, to include now the immediate response and the initial recovery efforts that are going to be needed here in California. So we're very grateful for the bipartisan support from Congress to give us that additional funding so we can meet the needs of the individuals that have been impacted. And as far as going through the transition, we have an amazing, dedicated workforce of women and men that are going to be able to continue to support them. Our regional administrator here has worked many fires across several different administrations, and we are going to work day in and day out to continue to support them through the authorities that are given to us through the Stafford Act.
Thank you, Administrator, for taking our questions. I wonder, realistically, how quickly will people be able to obtain these temporary living quarters? What are you doing to set those up? Where are you setting them up? And how are you making sure to get in contact with people that may need those temporary shelters?
Yeah, so the first step that everybody needs to do, there's two things. They need to register for assistance with FEMA so they get in our system and we can continue to work with them on a case-by-case basis, because we know that everybody is going to have an individual and unique need, and they need to contact their insurance company, because their insurance company may also provide alternate living expenses. We have a suite of tools, and one of the biggest tools and the best resources we have is reimbursing individuals for either the hotel costs that they're experiencing right now, or if they find a place to rent, reimbursing them for rental assistance. Given where we're at right now, we know that there's going to be a lot of rental resources, and that's going to be the best resource and the best tool that we have to support the families that have been impacted. But we have other tools in our toolbox. And so, again, we want to work with everybody individually because we know that everybody's situation is going to be different, and we're going to apply the right tool for their particular situation.
Thank you, Administrator. I know you can't obviously put a dollar sign on this, but can you just help us put into perspective a bit how you think the cost of this may compare to the cost of other recent...
Well, we've been listening to FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell providing a briefing on the federal response to the California wildfires. She was remote. She's on the ground there in California. She's talked about the briefings that she's had with local officials as well as the governor and the president, vice president. She says that it is still a very dangerous situation, dynamic, and that the winds will be increasing in the coming days.